In a stunning turn of events, Karoline Leavitt took decisive action against Joy Behar and The View following a highly publicized defamation case that sent shockwaves through the media world. After her explosive appearance on the show, Leavitt faced a barrage of personal attacks and false accusations from Behar, who used her platform to spread damaging and unfounded claims about Leavitt's character and professional integrity. Rather than letting the remarks slide, Leavitt decided to hold Behar accountable, filing a defamation lawsuit that would ultimately lead to Behar's arrest and a dramatic reckoning for The View. Leavitt's legal team presented a compelling case, showcasing clips from the show and social media posts where Behar made blatantly false statements about Leavitt's background and intentions. The evidence was damning, and the court ruled in Leavitt's favor, finding Behar guilty of defamation. The verdict was a landmark moment, as it highlighted the consequences of using a public platform to spread misinformation and attack individuals without evidence. Behar was ordered to pay significant damages, and in a rare move, was briefly taken into custody as part of the court's ruling. The arrest made national headlines, with many applauding Leavitt for standing up to bullying and holding powerful media figures accountable for their actions. But Leavitt didn't stop there. Emboldened by her legal victory, she set her sights on a larger goal, shutting down The View altogether. Leavitt argued that the show had become a toxic environment where personal attacks and divisive rhetoric overshadowed meaningful dialogue. She launched a public campaign calling on ABC to cancel the long-running program, citing its role in perpetuating a culture of hostility and exclusion. Leavitt's message resonated with a growing number of viewers who had grown tired of the show's sensationalism and lack of accountability. ABC, already reeling from the negative publicity surrounding Behar's arrest, faced mounting pressure from sponsors and advertisers who were hesitant to associate with a show embroiled in controversy. Leavitt's campaign gained traction, with hashtags like #CancelTheView trending on social media, and petitions demanding the show's cancellation circulating widely. While ABC initially resisted, the combination of legal, financial, and public relations challenges ultimately forced the network to announce the end of The View. Leavitt's actions marked a seismic shift in the media landscape, proving that individuals could hold powerful institutions accountable for their actions. Her victory over Behar and her campaign to shut down The View cemented her reputation as a fearless advocate for integrity and fairness in media, leaving a lasting legacy that would inspire others to challenge the status quo. As the fallout from Karoline Leavitt's defamation case against Joy Behar continued to unfold, Behar attempted to shift the blame, claiming that rogue crew members from The View had leaked false information to Leavitt in an effort to entrap her. In a hastily arranged press conference, Behar alleged that certain production staff had conspired against her, feeding Leavitt misleading details about her comments and intentions in order to create a false narrative. Behar insisted that she was the victim of an internal sabotage campaign, painting herself as a target rather than the instigator of the controversy. Behar's claims, however, were met with widespread skepticism. Critics pointed out that her accusations lacked concrete evidence and seemed like a desperate attempt to deflect responsibility. Leavitt, in response, issued a statement dismissing Behar's allegations as baseless and reaffirming that her lawsuit was based solely on Behar's own words and actions, which had been documented on air and across social media. Leavitt emphasized that the case had been decided in a court of law where facts and evidence, not conspiracy theories, determined the outcome. Meanwhile, sources within The View's production team pushed back against Behar's narrative, with several anonymous crew members speaking out to deny any involvement in a supposed plot to undermine her. They described Behar's claims as an attempt to scapegoat others for her own mistakes, further eroding her credibility. The internal discord only added to the show's mounting troubles as morale among staff plummeted and the public's perception of The View grew increasingly negative. Leavitt, undeterred by Behar's attempts to muddy the waters, continued her campaign to hold the show accountable. She called for greater transparency and accountability in media, urging networks to take responsibility for the behavior of their on-air personalities. As the controversy deepened, it became clear that Behar's efforts to shift blame had only intensified the scrutiny on The View, hastening its decline and solidifying Leavitt's position as a champion of integrity in the face of media misconduct. As the dust settled from Joy Behar's dramatic exit and the ensuing controversy, the question on everyone's mind was whether The View could survive without its longtime co-host. Behar had been a staple of the show for over 2 decades, her sharp wit and unfiltered commentary making her one of its most recognizable and polarizing figures. Her absence left a significant void, both in terms of the show's dynamic and its ability to generate the kind of heated debates that had become its trademark. ABC executives faced a daunting challenge: how to reinvent The View in a way that would retain its loyal audience while attracting new viewers who had grown disillusioned with the show's often toxic atmosphere. The network quickly announced a search for a new co-host, promising to bring in a fresh voice that would help steer the show in a more inclusive and respectful direction. However, finding someone who could match Behar's star power and chemistry with the remaining panelists proved to be no easy task. In the interim, The View experimented with a rotating lineup of guest co-hosts, ranging from journalists and activists to celebrities and influencers. While some guests brought energy and new perspectives to the table, others struggled to fill the void left by Behar, leading to uneven episodes that lacked the show's usual spark. Ratings began to fluctuate, with some longtime viewers tuning out in protest of Behar's removal, while others cautiously returned, curious to see how the show would evolve. Behind the scenes, the remaining co-hosts worked to adapt to the new dynamic. Whoopi Goldberg, as the show's moderator, took on a more prominent role in guiding discussions and maintaining order, while Sunny Hostin and Sarah Haynes attempted to strike a balance between addressing serious issues and keeping the tone lighthearted. However, the absence of Behar's confrontational style was palpable, leaving some fans nostalgic for the show's earlier days. Karoline Leavitt, meanwhile, continued to loom large over the show's future. Her campaign for accountability and her calls for The View to embrace a more balanced and respectful approach had struck a chord with many viewers, putting pressure on ABC to deliver on its promises of change. Some even speculated that Leavitt herself might be invited to join the panel, though such a move would undoubtedly be controversial. As The View navigated this transitional period, the question of its survival remained unanswered. Could the show reinvent itself and regain its relevance in an increasingly fragmented media landscape? Or would it become a relic of a bygone era, unable to move past the controversies that had defined its recent history? Only time would tell whether The View could thrive without Joy Behar, or if her departure would mark the beginning of the end for the iconic daytime talk show. Leavitt calmly but firmly pushed back, highlighting her professional background and accomplishments. She made it clear that she was not there as a casual commentator, but as someone with a proven track record in media and communications, which gave her the authority to speak on the topics being discussed. Leavitt pointed out that she had worked in high-pressure environments, where she honed her skills in public speaking, strategic communication, and crisis management. She emphasized that her experience had taught her how to navigate complex discussions and stand her ground, even in the face of intense scrutiny or opposition. By doing so, she effectively countered the panel's attempts to undermine her credibility and demonstrated that she was more than capable of holding her own in a challenging and often hostile setting. The co-host, seemingly caught off guard by her confident and articulate response, tried to shift the focus back to their own narratives, but Leavitt refused to let them steer the conversation away from her points. She reiterated that her perspective was informed by real-world experience and a deep understanding of the issues at hand, rather than mere ideology or partisanship. This assertion not only bolstered her position, but also exposed the panel's tendency to dismiss voices that didn't align with their own, regardless of their qualifications or expertise. Leavitt's ability to defend herself with poise and professionalism stood in stark contrast to the panel's increasingly combative and dismissive tone. Her refusal to be intimidated or sidelined resonated with many viewers, who saw her as a refreshing change from the usual dynamics of the show. By standing firm and asserting her credentials, Leavitt not only validated her own voice, but also challenged the broader culture of The View, where personal attacks and dismissiveness often overshadow meaningful dialogue. Her performance served as a powerful reminder that substance and professionalism should always take precedence over sensationalism and personal bias. Karoline Leavitt's confrontation with Whoopi Goldberg about sexism on The View was a defining moment in her appearance, as she called out the glaring hypocrisy of a show that claims to champion in women's empowerment, while simultaneously mocking and belittling women who hold differing viewpoints. Leavitt pointed out that while The View often celebrates women who break barriers and achieve success, its treatment of conservative or independent-minded women is often dismissive, condescending, and at times outright hostile. She argued that this double standard undermines the show's stated mission of empowering women and instead perpetuates a culture where only certain types of women are deemed worthy of respect and support. Leavitt's critique struck a chord as she highlighted specific instances where the panel had ridiculed or marginalized women who didn't conform to their ideological expectations. She noted that this behavior not only silences diverse perspectives, but also sends a damaging message to viewers that women are only empowered if they align with a particular set of beliefs. Leavitt challenged Whoopi and the other co-hosts to reflect on whether their actions truly aligned with their professed values, or if they were simply paying lip service to the idea of women's empowerment while practicing exclusion and bias. Whoopi, initially defensive, attempted to deflect the criticism by suggesting that Leavitt was misinterpreting the panel's intentions. However, Leavitt stood her ground, calmly but firmly reiterating that the issue was not about intent but about impact. She argued that the panel's dismissive and often mocking tone toward women with differing views had real consequences, both for the women involved and for the broader cultural conversation about gender equality. By calling out this hypocrisy, Leavitt forced the panel to confront an uncomfortable truth about their own behavior and its implications. The audience reaction was mixed, with some visibly uncomfortable, while others seemed to appreciate Leavitt's boldness. Social media quickly lit up with discussions about the exchange, with many praising Leavitt for her courage in addressing an issue that often goes unspoken. Her willingness to challenge the panel on its own terms, while maintaining her composure and professionalism, underscored her ability to navigate difficult conversations with grace and conviction. This moment not only solidified Leavitt's position as a formidable voice, but also sparked a broader conversation about what true empowerment and inclusivity should look like in media and beyond.